I think the running back pool for cash games this week on DraftKings is exceptionally weak outside of Dalvin Cook, who is a stone lock. And we're going to be looking for some value on this slate. We even lost Kalen Ballage with the return of Austin Eckler from IR. So a lot of the times I think we're going to be in this range sub 5K. Brian Hill stands out at 4K flat stone minimum with Todd Gurley ruled out. And Jonathan Taylor hit the COVID reserve list today on Saturday afternoon, which puts Nyheim Hines squarely in play at 4,600.
Yeah, both are going to be popular options on DraftKings this week as they have relatively cheap price tags, and then everybody's going to play them so they could jam in these high-priced wide receivers, probably one or two of them. And then if we just talk about, who we prefer, I think for me, if I'm going with a 2 running back build, I prefer Brian Hill. I will take the $600 in savings off of Hines to Brian Hill, who's coming into a starting role in a great matchup at home against the Raiders, but I don't think you can go wrong with Nyheim Hines either. It's just the Colts situation is less predictable than the Falcons situation, and the touches could be spread out to literally anybody on the Colts' entire offense, and then you always have the threat that Jordan Wilkins will come in the game and get the bulk of touches. So it's just a difficult situation to project in Indianapolis, and that's also a plus for Brian Hill. But I mean, God, this dude Brian Hill is on record of last year. We had a Brian Hill week probably around the same time 1 year ago from today, where he was chalk, busted, and then went on Twitter afterwards and said he doesn't give a fuck about our fantasy teams. So I don't know which direction to go, especially playing a player that, he just doesn't care at all.
See, I forgot about that, but now all the memories came flashing back. And it's just like, it's so similar to, Nick Chubb and even, Brian Hill's backfield league mate, Todd Gurley, who did the same thing and also doesn't give a fuck about fantasy players. To me, Nyheim Hines, I think, is clearly a better play. Now that 600 could come in crucial in these lineup builds, although there's a ton of value. You still find yourself in a situation where salary feels tight because there's so many priority plays at the high end that you want to get up to. So I do think that 600 could matter, which would make Brian Hill fit. But in the 2 games that Hill started in 2019, he averaged 14 touches, had 1 16-touch game, had 1 12-touch game. And because of his lack of a receiving role, I think his floor is extremely low. Now, at 4K, he's probably not going to kill you, but I think that him busting and failing to put up 15-plus points, 10-plus points, is squarely in the range. With Nyheim Hines, at least we're getting a player whose utilization in scoring position has been strong all year, even with Jonathan Taylor. Hines is top 5 in running back red zone targets in the NFL in 2020, and he's out-targeted Wilkins 45-8 on the season, seen 23 red zone opportunities total. So I think Hines is the standout play between the two.
Yeah, I definitely don't disagree with what you said, and Hines has obviously been used more than Wilkins in 2020. But, the Colts are on record saying that they're going to go with a hot hand approach. And if Jordan Wilkins comes out the gate and shows that he can get the job done for that specific game, he's not coming off the field. It's just that simple, unless it's a clear-cut passing down for Nyheim Hines. So I think there is a little bit of uncertainty surrounding the Colts backfield and the Colts fantasy outlook in general, just because they spread the ball around to so many different players. I think Hines can get there based on his reception upside alone, but I don't think he has any rushing upside at all in this spot, although it is a very good matchup. I think they will leave that duty up to Wilkins, and you're just going to have to hope that Hines can get there on 3, 4, 5 catches. He's only gone over 5 catches in one game the entire season. He's been under 5 catches in every game on the season besides 3 games. So I don't think he's as much of a slam dunk as other people may think, but I don't think he's a bad play by any means.
You'd have to expect that his targets go a little bit up, though, because even Jonathan Taylor is utilized in that way, so that'll push probably directly to Hines instead of Wilkins. But, what I really got from what you said just there is that Jordan Wilkins is a GOAT GPP play because he's going to be at the same price as Brian Hill. He's a perfect 1-for-1 tournament leverage pivot off the ownership, and he's leverage off of Hines too. And these are going to be two of the highest owned running backs on the slate. So, I mean, if Jordan Wilkins is the hot hand and finds himself getting some red zone attempts, I think that he's just, God, such a great play in tournaments.
Yeah, I think he's definitely a great GPP leverage play because obviously you get the leverage off of Hines and then you get leverage off of Brian Hill, who is another 4K running back. So I would throw him into a large field tournament for sure this week. And he could easily bust, but I'll take that leverage and the upside of Wilkins all day in a tournament like the Millie Maker where you got to hit the nuts.